projects that have been awarded, and contractors are not on site simply because they raise certificates and we are unable to pay them. There are also an issue of the portfolio of stalled projects, which is quite disturbing. And then the inefficiencies in the procurement processes, which is what our agencies have done, i.e., there was almost uncontrolled level of award of contract. As a minister, every day people come to me, I've got this package, and they are throwing it in front of me to just approve. Reset means that cannot be done. We will only go ahead with projects that have been programmed and budgeted for. And I'm pleading with everybody interested in playing a role in the road sector that the days of uncontrolled, unregulated award of contract is far gone. We will only start projects that we are sure we can fund. So that is a message to everybody. We also identified significant problem with technical personnel to supervise some of the project, because when we went around, one of the concerns of stakeholders was the quality of works we are delivering. Works are done, and within a project, normally we are told that when we do surface dressing, that is the one you and I know as the rough one, that is tarred but it's rough. It's supposed to last maybe 6-10 years. But 6 months after the project has been handed over, the rain falls and it washes away. And part of the reason is because of the strength of our technical people in terms of supervision. It is not their inability, their technical capability. We don't have enough personnel to go around the country to supervise the close to 1,000 projects that we have on site at any given time. The other thing we did was to basically focus on the flagship projects that the president promised in our manifesto, which is the big push. In the past, what would have happened was government basically saying we are going to do big push project, and then quickly see interested parties running through the door of the agencies that I want to do this. And one of the things we identified as well was that the regime of awarding projects on a so-called design and build also created an opportunity for inefficiencies and cost overruns and projects that are not delivering value for money. So under the leadership of President Mahama, he directed that all big push projects should receive proper attention in terms of, doing the studies, making sure that we do the designs and everything ourselves, and even come up with the cost. So the costs of big push projects you see will be costs generated by our agencies instead of costs coming from contractors, which is a very big difference from what things used to be when before we took over. And this is all part of the resetting in the road sector that we talked about. So why do we have to do big push? My brothers and sisters, the program is also intended to provide infrastructure base needed to support the 24-hour economy by ensuring round-the-clock movement of goods and services. The Ministry of Road and Highways has undertaken studies and prepared comprehensive engineering interventions and cost estimates for the projects under the Big Push project. The Ministry of Finance has since issued commencement authorization for the following roads project. As I said, if we don't capture the projects and know where the funds are coming from, we are not going to award them. That is the basis upon which we use 6 months, as the finance minister said, to identify these projects, prepare them, cost them, and seek the requisite financial authorization before we go to site. By the way, when we took over, one of the things we did also was to tighten the regime of commitment, because I'll be speaking about part of that later in the presentation. And just to explain, Big Push is not a constituency-specific intervention. It's the big idea to operationalize the 24-hour economy and reset the whole country. Take, for instance, my brothers and sisters, if you were to be doing business in Wa, or you do some production in Wa, or you farm around Wa, and your goods are supposed to be going to Takoradi or coming to consumers in Accra. If you ever travel from Wa on the Western Corridor to Takoradi and other things, you will wonder why we left this for this long. And those of you who were with me saw the difficulty our farmers have to go through for this. We believe that if Big Push, and I have no doubt we will succeed, it should lead to lower prices of food in our country, because part of the cost of the food stuff on the market today is based on the cost of transportation. It doesn't necessarily mean that the food is expensive on the farm, because the farmer hardly increases the prices at the farm gate. And so let me give you an idea of some of the Big Push projects. And I want to take the opportunity to tell our countrymen and women that the roads I'm coming to mention doesn't mean these are the only projects government is undertaking. We are responding to what we promised under the Big Push only. We have more projects than I'm going to mention, which are all going to start concurrently. So don't worry if you don't hear Adaklu in the list. Big Push is bigger than dealing with the problems of Adaklu. So let me mention some of them. Construction of a new bridge over Oti River at Dambai. And God willing, these projects I'm mentioning, within 3 weeks, God willing, we should see many of them starting on site, not a promise. That is the Dambai Bridge, the rehabilitation of Wahan Road. But before I continue, what we intend to do is to reconstruct the road between Wa and Bolga completely. I understand that when I went around on that stretch, and it's a very sad story, few sections are under contract. Majority of the contractors are not on site for the same reasons. Because I heard my colleagues saying we are repackaging, and I'll deal with all those issues later. So when I mention them, you can say that they are just segments on the same road, but the intention of President Mahama is to, for the first time in the history of our country, complete the road between Wa and Bolga, all tarred, within 2 years. And that is what we are intending to do. We are going to do that. So upgrading of Tumu to Hamile Road, upgrading of Tumu to Han Laura, reconstruction of Navrongo Tumu Road, and then the rehabilitation of Techima Nkonsia Wenchi, rehabilitation of Wenchi Sola Road, construction of Sunyani Outer Ring Road, construction of Tamale Outer Ring Road. When the finance minister was making the presentation, somehow the Tamale Outer Ring Road was not highlighted, and people picked it up. In fact, I've got commencement authorization to cover that, and in few days we should be getting that contract formed and the contractor going on site. The Kumasi Outer Ring Road, the East Quadrant, the Kumasi Outer Ring Road will be more than 100 kilometers. The biggest problem currently is people moving from Accra trying to go around Kumasi or going to the northern part of the country. You are forced to drive into Kumasi when you don't need anything in Kumasi. So what we want to do is to, just after Ejisu, do a bypass completely, and then go and over the road around Mampong, which will mean that we can cut the congestion within Kumasi itself. The rehabilitation of Bintri to Napanduri, rehabilitation of Dudupepesu to Nkwanta, rehabilitation of Atimpoku to Esikuma. Okay, this is all a section to say that right from after the bridge, if you are coming to Accra, after the bridge, from there all the way to Aflau is part of that. So these are all just segments we are talking about as well. So right from the bridge, after Adomi Bridge, all the way through Ho to Aflau is part of the Big Push project, all to be done and completed within that segment. So if you realize that I'll mention it is just segments on the same road. And then Atimpoku to Esikuma Junction to Anyirawase, Anyirawase to Ho Titrinu, and then Akosombo, Jikiti, Kudi Kope Road, Asikuma to Enumbuso, Palime Road, Adomi Bridge to Akwamufie Road, the whole to Aflau, dualization of Winneba Mankesim Road, dualization of Cape Coast, Takradi Road, rehabilitation of Mankesim, Ejumako, Breman, Asikuma, Agona Swedro, rehabilitation of Tema Aflau Road, again, that different section. Dodoa, Afienya Road, those of you who use that road Friday, Saturday will notice a very humiliating and frustrating situation. We believe if we do between Dowenya, Afienya to Dodowa, it will be an opportunity to detour. For instance, if you were at Adenta and you are coming from Aflao, what is the point of driving all the way to the motorway and then coming to Accra Mall to turn around? You don't need that. So you can detour at Dowenya, Afienya, Dodowa, and then, as you know, the Dodowa road also is not in good shape now. The previous government started and then it has stalled. I would explain to you what we are doing about that one as well. And then the Temaflau road, which is on the same stretch, the Oyibi, Apollonia, Afienya road, Enchi, Elubo, Dadieso, Akontumbra, Ejofua, Osei Kojokrom, Enchi, Kojom, Pechi, Bediaku Junction to come 5 to Seshi, Adabo Chrome. As part of the Big Push program, we have also selected the following abandoned projects for which no dedicated funding was allocated by the previous administration. Rehabilitation and upgrading of Kaswa to Winneba Road. The rehabilitation of Ofanko and Sawam Road. Dualization of Takradi, Agona Junction. Construction of Swame Interchange and local roads. Construction of National Route 18, Wa to Han Road. The upgrading of Tumu, Chichuluga, Navrongo, including construction of a 36-meter span reinforced concrete bridge over Kanyibe River and a 24-meter span reinforced concrete bridge over Bechilu River. Reconstruction of Navrongo, Chichuluga, Sandema Road, rehabilitation of Tepa, Mabangoso Road, rehabilitation of Okwe Jasikan, upgrading of Nkwanta, Otidamanko, reconstruction of Okwe Have, dualization of Adenta, Dodowa Road, and then reconstruction of Jini Sampa Road. My brothers and sisters, there has also been the need to carry out some strategic projects, and we have started the studies for these projects to ascertain exactly the interventions we needed to do. So to ensure long-term network resilience and regional integration, the ministry is conducting feasibility studies for key projects currently in at the design and appraisal stage. 1, a new alignment of Accra-Kumasi Expressway to reduce travel time and enhance safety. And let me repeat, it's a new alignment. It is not an expansion of the existing road. It's not dualization of the existing road. This is a greenfield building a brand new expressway. It probably be the first time in our history we do something like of this scale. 2, Accra Outer Ring Road, and then the Kumasi Outer Ring Road. The Adosu Echiamanfo Bridge to connect Afram Plains and open up vast agricultural land. The pipeline projects are in alignment with the reset agenda's focus on long-term planning, regional equity, and infrastructure-driven job creation, as well as enabling infrastructure requirement for the 24-hour economy to take place. The 5th point I want to talk to you is about a modern tolling regime in Ghana. You all know that notice that prior to the previous government's attempt to foist e-levy on the people of our country, they unilaterally decided to zero the collection of road tolls in our country. As principled as we are, we spoke against that, even at the time, encouraging government to restore the tolling. They refused. They attempted to bring it back at the tail end of their regime. We were consistent and principled and asked them to bring it back. And indeed, prior to the election, we made it clear in our manifesto that we'll bring it back. My brothers and sisters, what are we doing now? To improve the maintenance regime, Cabinet has given approval for the reintroduction of road and bridge tolls with a focus on modernizing the collection of these tolls. We have done the transition, we want to transition to electronic and automated tolling system, enhance transparency and auditability of revenue inflows, improve user experience and reduce congestion at toll points. The ministry has launched a concessionaire pre-qualification process so far. Public advertisements have been done, a pre-qualification conference was held on the 3rd of July 2025. 12 firms have submitted applications currently under evaluation. Proposed new toll rates have been submitted to Parliament via Ministry of Finance to determine the rates we are going to be charging when the toll is implemented. We are hoping that this will be based on electronic platform. There will be no physical barriers in on any road, and the tolling would only apply to roads that are engineered, meaning that roads that have been fixed. So we don't intend to put tolls on any rough road and other things. But when we make interventions, then we can toll them to raise more money to maintain that and to fix other roads in the country. The next thing I want to talk about is the issue about what is happening at the ministry now in terms of our burden. You will notice that at the time of transition, the previous government suggested that the total commitment of government at the road ministry was 105 billion Ghana cedi. I doubted that figure anyway, and I said it was around 130 billion. And I asked the ministry to do further work. They came back and told me the total commitment was around 123 billion, 565 million, 454 million, and then 431. At the time this figure was there, the total budgetary allocation to the ministry was just around 3 billion. When were we going to be able to have the resources to do all this road? So currently, the burden we have is over 120 billion. You heard the finance minister talk about commitment, total government commitment of about 164 billion. The road ministry alone's commitment is over 120 billion. I'm not saying roads are not necessary, but I thought government should have matched the awards with the allocation of resources. Reset means that when we say big push, you already see the finance minister allocating 13 billion this year alone for big push, even before we award the first contract for big push. This is the reset we are talking about. And the 13 billion does not include the allocation to the Ministry of Road and Highways. It's an additional money meant for the big push. We have our own budget, and then we have the budget for the road fund, which is also about 3 billion. We have a road maintenance trust fund, which is one of the things that the president directed we do. Currently, one of the biggest problems we have in our country is the maintenance of our roads. Sometimes the road could be engineered, but just sections are in a state that needed repairs. We leave it, and then the whole road gets deteriorated. President Mahama directs that we should, as part of reset, have a maintenance regime that is fit for purpose. So what he's directed us to do is to reform the road fund currently. Currently, the road fund exists mainly within the road ministry under the office of the chief director. And it can happen that in the whole year, a minister can decide that a district will not see any release or any allocation for any road maintenance. And rather, they will spend all the money in one location. President Mahama's idea of equity directs that when we reform the road maintenance trust fund, and I'm very grateful to yourselves and Parliament that last week Friday, the road maintenance trust fund bill has been passed, and we are awaiting the assent of that bill into a law by the president. What is this bill supposed to do? Unlike the past, reset means that accruals to the road fund will now go to Parliament, and Parliament would apportion how the road fund is spent, just the way Common Fund, Gov't Fund, and NHI Fund is allocated. So once this becomes law, every district in our country would have at least a minimum allocation for road maintenance in that district every single year. The same way we are doing with Common Fund. When Common Fund the law exists, but because of the way it is allocated, much of the money, sometimes 70%, is spent in Accra. Now, under the new road maintenance trust fund, It is the stakeholders in the district that determines which roads are their priority to maintain at any particular time based on the amount of money they have. So this is new, and then we are grateful that the Road Maintenance Trust Fund have been created. Out of this, new jobs will be created because we want these maintenance activities to be localized. I see no reason why in a district we cannot find or groom or create, build the capacity of local people to learn how to do road maintenance in their district instead of importing service providers from other regions. I believe this will also create new jobs. The next thing I want to talk about is the human resource and situation in the ministry. As I said, the ministry is in need of qualified staff to be able to supervise the works. I must say that the Finance Ministry has since issued a warrant for the recruitment of new engineers who would be trained to be able to carry out supervision of these roads. The next thing I want to talk about is the asset load control reforms. If you have been watching the ministry, one of the biggest challenges we have is the asset load regime. And you will notice that whenever government changes, there's this tendency for people to be interested in managing asset load stations. My brothers and sisters, whatever money we collect in terms of penalties, and let me repeat, whatever you pay with respect to asset loading is not a fee. Is a penalty for wrongdoing. So our aim is to make sure that asset loading would, the accruals will be zero. If the accruals become zero, what it means is that people have stopped overloading. No amount of money we collect in terms of penalties on asset loading can ever be enough to repair the damages caused by trackers along on our roads. Those of you who have seen part of the road, Agona Junction to Takwa, which was done less than a year ago, part of the reason that road is almost gone is partly because of asset loading, not entirely because of that. But many other roads across our country are in a very deplorable state. We intend to do something about this, and then we have recommended a stiffer penalty regime for those who would not abide by the rule and overload. So you will see that the fees and charges that will come up, we are intending to hike the penalty for overloading on our road from 5,000 Ghana cedi to 50,000. You shouldn't be worried. It's just like saying that if you steal, you will be jailed for life. You will say that is high-handedness. But what about considering not stealing? Then you have no reason to spend even a day in prison. So we are increasing the penalties for overloading from 5,000 to 50,000. We hope that will be additional deterrent for people to make sure they work within the rules. As part of this, we also noticed that the overloading part of the overloading regime is complex. Some people go to Tamaport, load within the allowable tonnage. When they get out of the port, they park somewhere and then top up the goods. We are coming up with a regulation. Currently, the penalty is solely on the driver. We intend that the penalty be extended to the owner of the goods. So a portion of the good will be seized, auctioned, and the money put in the Road Maintenance Trust Fund. I am sure if you lose half of the goods as a result of overloading, the next time we all work within the limit. So these are all measures aimed at deterrent. No one, in fact, we wish that nobody overloads, nobody gets to pay anything. Nobody loses his or her goods. The next thing is about payment to contractors. It is true that as we speak, government owes contractors at Road Fund about 7 billion Ghana cedi. And then the GOG component is over 20 billion Ghana cedi. Truth be told, retiring these arrears is not going to be easy. But the finance minister has already made a commitment to pay 4 billion of the arrears this year alone. And I am aware that some contractors, the payment have started. But it's going to take some time for us to retire all this. The question is, how did we build this level of arrears over the years without making the necessary plans to pay them off? The reset means that President Mahama is determined to retire this. But before then, the finance minister ordered an audit of some of the certificates. And what we are seeing on some of those occasions are not things we are happy about. There are instances where a certificate at Road Fund was transferred to GOG for payment, and somehow both certificates were paid. i.e., Road Fund paid it and GOG paid it. We need a regime that is able to detect all these things and make sure that we don't pay for things that we did not consume. I know you have a lot you want to ask, so I would limit what I want to say and rather listen to you. Maybe you have more issues. But what I want to recap is this, that since we came, we went around the country to see for ourselves the condition of roads. And I must say that the conditions where you are is not different from where I am. It's in a very deplorable state. The president wants to make an impact. And the big push is just one of the interventions. The new maintenance regime is the second thing. Prudence in the way of we award projects to match the awards with resources is a third thing. We are also working with other stakeholders to make sure that the quality of roads we deliver will be better than we've ever seen. We intend to upscale all this to support the 24-hour economy drive. And one of the things we are going to do with the big push is that all big push projects are going to be done 24/7 around the clock. So all the projects will be carried out 24/7. That is why we are confident that maybe a project that should take 36 months, we are believing that it can be done within 24 months. And then I must congratulate all those contractors who have already started working 24 hours on their site to make sure that we're able to complete this project in time. And let me repeat, Big Push is not a constituency-specific intervention. It is to interconnect our regions and open up very critical corridors. Upper corridor from Wa to Bolga, Eastern corridor right from Tema all the way through Oti, Basa and beyond. Western corridor all the way from Takrady all the way to Wa, and then deal with the issues of congestion in our cities. That is the outer ring roads of Kumasi, Sunyani, Tamale. All of them which have already been scheduled and commencement warrants issued for those projects to be awarded. So we are ready to go, and within 3 weeks maximum, you should see that the president will be cutting short for some of these things. There's also an issue about the rest of the roads, which the finance minister talked about in terms of about 160 districts that we have studied that have got the lowest or the worst roads in our country. So what we want to do is to commit ourselves to the next few years to make an intervention of about 5,000 kilometers of this road. And these are the ones that we are saying there are over 160 roads we want to carry out this. We are in the process of putting this together, doing the studies and what level of intervention. On some road, maybe it's an existing road, but what we need to do is to resurface, or there's a bridge on it which is broken, we need to fix. So the interventions will depend on the specific situation in that. So all this will be going on concurrently. We have also started the annual maintenance regime across the country the various agencies, Urban Road, Feeder Road, have started, you saw in the newspapers, competitive bidding of all these things. Some regions have opened tender last week and are selecting service providers to start roadside clearing, desilting, regraveling, pothole patching across the country. So all these things are going on as we speak, and we are very hopeful that we've got on our side. President Mahama would bring the level of transformation, our reset on our roads, that would be something that can spur further economic growth and actually create more jobs, especially those in the built environment. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much, Honorable Minister, for that concise presentation, which was loaded with very useful information. I would now invite members of the media present to the microphone to my left so that they may ask any questions that are agitating their minds over this presentation or any other matters relevant to the road sector. All right, please go ahead. Identify yourself and ask your question.
Hello. Good morning. My name is Shadrach Odame Ejare, Metro TV. My first question has to do, I don't know if it falls under the Honorable's domain, but it has to do with people crossing the highways under the footbridges. If it does, what is the ministry doing about it? And then he also mentioned the edge or government's working, settling the 7 billion, of which 4 billion is already underway. If this commitment is there, what happens to the contractors who also took what they are not supposed to do? What is happening to them? What should the ministry...
Please clarify. If you say they took what they are not supposed to do,
so we also... Or he mentioned people who were being paid work that was not done. Okay. So what is the ministry doing? Are they taking it back? Anything going on around those ministries? And then I think he also mentioned the Accra-Kumasi highway. I'm sure maybe his tree will be better than Dr. Ayines. Maybe he may want to do a better clarification, because people think, or people know, or are tempted to believe that we are seeing maybe from Ofankor straight to Kumasi dualized, where we are having 2 going, 2 coming, or 3 going, 3 coming. So I think we should get a better explanation on that. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Abdul Hanan Adam, EIB Network. Minister, I just want you to clarify one thing regarding what people may term as the most important road in the country, Accra to Kumasi, and that begins from the Ofankor stretch. Earlier, transport operators threatened that they will impose a levy if development on the road that is not encouraging, because they spend a lot to do maintenance and then also pay more to buy spare parts. What is the current update regarding construction on that stretch of Angkor? And then we know there's one from Pokwase up to Nsawam that is in a very bad state. Could you kindly give us an update on that? Secondly, I want to find out, like my colleague asked from Metro TV, the Accra-Kumasi expressway, we don't have the scope of the project. Where does it start from? And when is construction supposed to start? And then also, how much is it going to cost us as a nation? Thank you.
Right. Thank you very much.
Wisdom, Heather Germany, the XYZ Broadcasting. Minister made mention that the bridge on the Oti River is going to start in 3 weeks. I want to know exactly when the Dodowa Road is also starting, because for those of us on that stretch, we've not wore white shirts in a very long while, because you dare not try it. You go back with so much debt on you. And then number 2, I want to find out, is there any punishment that will be meted out to contractors who do shoddy works? Because we know contractors who do a work, maybe a period of just 6 months, we see the road, deteriorating again. So what's the ministry going to do to ensure that contractors do value for money jobs? Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. I am Sethi at GBC. Minister, how is the ministry aligning its maintenance program and axle load reforms to support the NDCs or the government 24-hour economy and ensure the long-term durability of the road network? And 2, how much has the ministry set aside or anticipate to pay as compensation to farmers, landlords, and landladies whose farms and houses are going to be affected by the construction of these roads? Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. My name is Maltiti, GTV Breakfast. Minister, I'd like to know what the government has lost or the country has lost to unscrupulous people who just plunge the resources on our roads. Iron rods, there's still street lights. And also, if you can touch on the minority's assertion that the budget for roads is biased, depending on the areas that have been selected for the big push projects. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So the minister would field these questions, after which we'll take another round. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'll start with my colleagues on the other side's comment about the budget. Of course, I don't blame them. They were not there when the budget was read. So how would they have understood what was said? So maybe they are acting on rumors since they were not there. But what the finance minister said was quite clear, and then I explained it here, that the big push projects are in two categories. President Mahama's vision for roads that he has mentioned in the past, which we've been working on, and the additional projects that we have taken on as a result of the nature of those roads, which do not have enough sustainable source of funding. So, for instance, when you take the Western Corridor from Winchi, it doesn't start from Winchi, but the project we are doing is from Winchi to Wa. So how do you try to share the road from Winchi to Wa amongst everybody? Because truth be told, the road between or within some regions are better than others. In fact, when I went around, I didn't even see any contractor working in any part of OT region. It was as if it didn't exist. Almost every contractor working in OT was off-site. So there wasn't any project going on. And there are some places that contractors were actively working. Reset means equity as well. So if you have more and others have nothing, we bring them also to a level of sustainability before we share the other ones. So it is not about sharing equally amongst others. It's about addressing the issues. So, but I can guarantee you, big push project touches every region, all the 16 regions. So it is not even true that there's a region that has been left out of big push. Every region has got a big push project. So I can sympathize with my colleagues who were not there when the budget was read that maybe they're acting on rumors. The next thing I want to touch is overpayment. I know some of the agencies of state are looking into some of the alleged wrongdoings currently. So maybe it would be premature for me to make any further comments on that. But I know that state agencies are looking into some of those alleged wrongdoings, whether by contractors, consultants, or my agency operators, and then in due course you'll get to hear that. Accra Kumasi, I'm told to explain it a bit in Twi, which is okay. Yebabesi Equino, brand new. Every Nkra, Eko Kumasi. And yet expansion and an dualization of existing alignment. Yebabesi a brand new Fufro, every Accra, Eko Kumasi. And so we say, Adena, a friend was saying, dualization, and won't complete it, no. And then, no, President Mahama's vision say, we agree, say, Accra to Kumasi is the biggest traffic in our country. And they deserve more, or the country deserves more. And that is why Yebabesi, a brand new road. And we are not calling it even a dualization. We are calling it expressway, one that has never been done before. And I'm saying that we are hiring a consultant to do the studies, design, and costing, not design and build. An independent person will carry out the design and everything before we determine how much it will cost. So unfortunately, I'm not able to tell you how much it costs currently because we are not there yet. Ofankor, it's true that one of the biggest frustrations of people who try to leave or come into Accra using that corridor is Ofankor. It is true that that project actually was part of, if history bears me right, was part of the project conceived initially by President Mahama as part of the Pokwasi interchange. And I know that as of the time Pokwasi interchange was being funded by AFDB, the contract for what we are talking about now was also awarded to a Ghanaian contractor. The scope is different, but it was not done. The Pokwasi project was carried out. But we needed to do what we are doing now. But when the project was awarded, it's multi-million-dollar, but there's no dedicated source of funding. So government in the past paid part. The contractor was not on site. And when it started raining this year, you saw the frustration. And rightly so, we know drivers, community members, everybody was unhappy. I met some of them in my office and to hear their frustration. They are not in it alone. We are all in it. Where if I'm going to Kumasi by road, where else would I pass? So I'm a victim as well. So we wanted to take an action. And I must say that as we speak, the contractor has been paid some money currently. And I am expecting that the contractor's activity on site must pick up quickly because I know we are paid some part of his bills to them. Dodowa, let's say from motorway to Central University, the contract says Accra to Aflao, but truth be told, Accra to Aflao is over 100 kilometers. The project that we are describing is just 17 kilometers. It ends at Central University. But that one also got stalled by BHM from United Kingdom. And the contractor was not on site. Some of you joined me appealing to the contractor to come back on site. The project is in two phases. The phase one is what the British firm is doing. Phase two was not under contract. We are carrying on part of that as part of Big Push. And I also heard my colleagues from the other side not understanding, saying we are repackaging existing projects. No. The phase two of the motorway to Central University has never been under contract. So it's actually a brand new project. What we are doing has nothing to do with an existing contract. Yes, Ofankor is an existing project we want to complete, and I think it is morally right for us to complete that. So if they are worried about us completing a stall project, then that is their challenge. Because in their press statement, in one vein, they talk about you are not spreading Big Push enough. Another statement, they are saying that you are not completing ongoing projects. And then they say that you are completing, you are taking credit to complete our project. So what exactly are they talking about? So we are going to complete Dodowa, what do you call it, the motorway to Central University as part of Big Push. And all the approvals have been given. We are just ready to get a final stage of approval, and then we get that contract going. Shoddy works. You are right. Everybody knows a road that was built, which should last for 10 years, which is failing. What we are doing is to let agents of state who look into this to look into them. But going forward, we are saying that from now, contractors who get work must show competence and commitment to do the good job. For instance, we notice at the ministry that contractors get work, and then when they are asked to buy, let's say, performance bond, they go to an entity, the entity, without making any checks, give them some cover, believing that government will never come back to cash the bond if things go wrong. Let me sound this warning. From now, when you are a contractor, you do work, and the work fails without explanation, we shall cash the bond. We shall cash the bond to use to restore the road. If you are a consultant, before you get work at the Ministry of Roads and Highways from now, you will need to buy professional indemnity insurance. Because if you supervise work that fails without any explanation, we will draw down on your insurance cover to make sure we cover the damages that you have caused. So this is a very clear message to contractors and consultants. We are no longer going to tolerate shoddy work under any circumstances. And also the third leg, staff of my agencies who supervise. And indeed, read what the finance minister said and part of our laws. If you are working with highways, feeder road, urban road, and you supervise work or authorize payment for works that were not done or were not done properly, if we find you out, you will be surcharged. I think that is just quite clear. That is the only way we can restore some sanity and decency and also improve the quality of work. As a loading, we intend to bring a regime after the implementation of the tolls to make sure that overloading stops. I've already signaled some of the measures, including hiking the penalty, not fees, penalty for overloading. And we are also bringing a regulation that instead of surcharging only the drivers, the owners of the goods also forfeit part of the goods, which will be auctioned. I'm sure that will be the beginning. And also to sanitize the way we operate as a loading station. Those of you who followed me on Agona Junction to Takwa, as of the morning I went there, it's as if no vehicle was offending. I drove 1 kilometer ahead, and then those who were with me, we apprehended 5 vehicles. 4 of them were overloaded. But they have all sorts of tricks, but we have a plan. And maybe in 6 months' time, you will see what we'll come up with. Compensation for roadworks. The laws of our country allow the state to acquire your property for the purpose of national interest. But the law also says that you are adequately compensated. We compensate people when we are building roads, whether it's your legitimately taking your property. If you have gone to build in a right-of-way that belongs to government already, we owe you nothing. And I don't make any excuse about it. If a right-of-way exists, you knew this was supposed to be a road, you go and put up a shop on it. Don't expect government to pay you. It's like rewarding you for doing the wrong thing. But if we know that the right-of-way didn't belong to government and we take it, there's a system by which the land valuation and others evaluate, and you are adequately compensated for that. That one cannot be taken away from you, and we always do that. Unfortunately, I don't have the figure, but I know that we have a bill of almost 1 billion Ghana cedi now, based on various evaluation coming out of different projects across the country. I think those are the first few responses. Oh, yes. Yes, you are right. Some compatriots, or I say that people who are not very helpful, have made it a point to, for instance, there's a metal grating on a drain in the middle of the road because scrap metal is business. They go and remove it in the night and go and sell it to scrap metal dealers. Maybe if I say they stop it, that would be better. We have traced a few, drain covers to a steel company that is converting those things to steel. So let me just remind you, if you are watching me, the law is coming to your smelter if you are using illegal materials for your raw materials for your production. That is wrong. We also have people who go around chipping away concrete to remove iron rod. That is quite desperate. Our first action is to restore those things to make sure the thing doesn't collapse in terms of losing its structural integrity. But we are also working with local authorities to make sure that those reduce. I know that there are some court cases currently ongoing where some people have been arrested. If you are coming from Circle and then the flyover going towards Kolebu, you'll be surprised that somebody went to remove all the guardrails. The one that was installed just about a year ago, somebody actually took time, removed all of them. Fortunately, some of them have been apprehended and they are with the police. As to what kind of punishment they get depends on what the law says. It is not for Ministry of Road and Highways to determine that level of punishment. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. To save the blushes of the minister regarding his tree rendition, I would like to reiterate it for the benefit of our compatriots who speak tree. Also, for no person what say, a year in Shemuaba, say, Omampeni John Dramani Mama, I drink say, a year quiet that in Kranikuma Sentemono. Or be ye for frokra no pese oka esisu dua se ye metutu dada wo sisi ano se ye be ye no foforo na mum obeyi kwan no afa bebe foforo efin kran kopim kumase na enye dualization chese ye ntre de wo ni mu ye si foforo kra dada no be koso awo na ye wi a ye be hwe kwan ye be fa so a ye di menu nyina bedi djuma nti sisi ade mpenifo ye mu hwehwemu se ombe hu dwumedie no pumasibre nti ebre so a ye de hu kaibɔ ebetudwa ama Ghana fo nyina atibi saa na oswafo no pese okire de twi no na emunt ne papa nti momfa nche so we'll take more questions.
All right, thank you. Good morning. My name is Julius. I report for the Ghanaian Times. Honorable Minister, respectfully, what metrics or mechanisms will be used to prioritize road projects under the big push and then the ongoing realization? And how are communities being engaged? Many a times the work happens and then people come and make all claims. What's the level of...
if you can clarify that, what sort of engagement are you referring to?
So stakeholder engagements, for
regarding
example,
road construction.
The road construction.
Okay. All right.
And then secondly, you talked about costing of projects under the big push. You mentioned that the costing will be done by the agencies of the ministry. What happens to competitive tendering? So if the ministries, the agencies are to cost the project, the contractors, what would they do? Would they just come and then whoever you wish, you give the contract to? And then on the Ofanko Road, I think you didn't answer the question that a colleague asked. It's about the portion from Amasaman onward. It's very terrible. On the 9th of July, you held a press conference at your office, and then the contractor promised that in 6 weeks, the road will be tarred to make it more trouble for commuters, but nothing seems to have done on it. What's the state of it? Thank you.
All right, thank you very much.
Komla Kluche, I work at TV3. The first question has to do with the main of Ankoin and so on road. Still, the issue of the financing regime must come under scrutiny. What is the financing regime for the project that has caught a lot of attention? Then the bit of the government acknowledging a gamut or widespread abandonment of most of the projects to which contractors have not been paid. In the past, somewhere in 2022, when the government launched the tracker, they put some of the roads under it. For instance, the Insawam and then the Adomabre Road or something of that nature was captured. But the reality on the ground is that that road was never constructed at all. At least people from there have sent questions regarding that. How does your administration intend to be transparent and results-driven and not just the rhetorics as we have seen maybe in the past? The final one has to do with, if you look at countries like in Europe and then the Americas, we have metals or concrete
barriers that are used to block roads so that people will not cross over, especially the highways. We have seen the case of, let's say, the N1 like this, where there are railings that are, some of them, broken down, and they're like, what are the plans of the ministry in working towards the side where people do not get to destroy this, what's the name? The barricades of the sort that they use for this.
Thank you very much.
Good morning. My name is Maxwell Agbodza. I work with Joy FM and Enjoy News. So our roads have become slaughterhouses where people are killed daily. In 2018, more than 2,000 people died on our roads. In 2019, more than 2,000 people died on our roads. In 2020, more than 2,000 people. In 2021, more than 2,000 people. In recent times, in 2024, 1,800 people died on our roads. In the first half of 2024, first 6 months, 1,500 people have died on our roads. Clearly, we have a road crash epidemic. Many have suggested that, experts have suggested that a lot of these accidents happen as a result of head-on collisions. That's why I'm happy about the new expressway President Lama wants to construct.
Your preamble is getting too lengthy.
My question is, are we going to consider investments in the railway sector and then water transport as a way of increasing, safety when it comes to mobility in the country? And then my second question, I know the minister...
The question you just asked is best posed to the transport minister because he deals with rail and marine transport. So if you have a question relating to the road sector, you can ask it now. Yeah.
But...
No, the road minister is not in a position to speak about
No, but
events.
we've been talking about the expressway.
Yes.
The construction of the expressway is expected to stop the head-on collisions.
Yes, but you also brought in marine transport and rail.
No, so I'm asking, are we going to have more dualizations across major highways in the country to reduce the number of deaths that we have in Ghana?
Question, yes.
And then, okay, great, fantastic.
Sure. All right.
I'm happy.
Go ahead.
My last question. My last question is, I know the minister has been doing a lot of stakeholder engagement. He's been engaging contractors, especially on issues of payment and then procurement inefficiencies. I want to find out what the outcome is and what measures you put it in place to implement, some solutions to some of the challenges. Thank you.
Thank you.
Right.
Well, good afternoon. My name is Emmanuel Romeo Tete from Ahota FM. So, roads, as the minister said, we are going to see road construction in the country. My question is, what steps are being taken to reduce corruption and the supposed political favoritism in awarding road contracts? And secondly, please, what measures are taken to address the non-functioning road traffics on our road? Thank you. The traffic lights. All right, thank you.
All right. So we'll take the last two questions and then...
My name is Peololinu from Class Media Group. I want to find out from the minister, when the president went to do the thank you tour for the Greater Accra, he made mention of the Labadi Tema Road, the Lanua Road. During the budget, I didn't hear the finance minister mention it. And also when the minister was speaking, he didn't mention it. So I want to find out whether it is in the ministry's budget. And also the bridge on the Beishi Lagoon, it's becoming very dangerous. And those of us who use that bridge, sometimes when you are going in the evening and these big trucks are on the road, it's sometimes life-threatening. So I want to find. Thank you
very much.
Thank you. Akosia Otre, I work with City FM and Channel 1 TV. Honorable Minister, on February 26, you indicated that government will not enter a private partnership when it comes to construction of roads. You cited the economy as not being in a prudent, moment for these private partnerships. But subsequently, in a story published by citynewsroom.com, authored by Juliana Odame, your deputy called for private partnership to address the infrastructure gap that we have. Can you clarify the ministry's stance? Are you going in for private partnership or not? Secondly, your ministry has also confirmed that 50 roads under the big push will commence before the end of the year, and this was said by the Deputy Minister as well in an interview. Can you, with a given pressure anticipated to construct these 50 roads, or to begin the construction of these 50 roads this year, are you considering a 24-hour construction model to help this infrastructure deficit being addressed? Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. So the minister would answer this set of questions.
Thank you very much. With our colleague who asked the first question, what are the metrics by which we select the big push projects? I already indicated that these are supposed to be inter-regional projects. So, for instance, or projects of significance that unlock the potentials of our country. So we have 3 major north-south arteries: the Central Corridor that runs through Kumasi and others, Eastern Corridor from Tema all the way through Passat, and then the Western Corridor from Takoradi all the way to Hamile. Those are the things. But if you look at all those routes right now, none of them is fit for purpose. So it's to address that. Then the upper corridor from Wa to Bolga. So there was the matrix has already been set, which is to interconnect our regions and create a good synergy that links the regions to the national capital in a very systematic way. So that's the first basis. And we believe that when we do this, it will actually spare what government is trying to do with the 24-hour economy and other things. You talked about how competitive it will be since the ministry itself is doing. In fact, even if before you do competitive tendering, the agencies under the ministry always come up with what we believe the thing should cost. We call it the engineers, sometimes engineers a figure. So it's not as if when we want to build a road between Accra and Kumasi, you can come and tell us it costs $10 billion. We know you are not being truthful because as we stand here, we have an idea how much it will cost. So we expect your bidding figures to be around that. So that doesn't make it any different. But what used to happen in the past is that we basically rely on developers to tell us how much they want to charge. And on many occasions, we believe that some of that cost would have been reduced if we did a bit more diligent work by ourselves by doing the studies and coming up with the cost. So sometimes, if you realize that the thing would definitely cost 50 cedis, even if you bid, it should be around that figure. So it doesn't really matter which procurement process you use. You just know that I've done the sums, it should cost around that price. Yes, I was at that meeting where the contractor or the contractor's rep promised that within 6 weeks we will see some improvement. Indeed, immediately we saw the contractor on site, some work have started. For me, the most important thing is that today, I know the contractor's biggest problem was they've not been paid. And I must say the contractor was owed over 70 million Ghana dollars, which the previous government didn't pay. I was surprised they were on top of the roof asking us to pay the contractors. How much did they leave? In fact, even the $300 and something million that IMF gave us, if you listen to the finance minister, they spent it in 6 days before they left. They made sure they spent everything before they left. But President Mahama is not complaining. We are saying that we owe the contractors. We shall work hard and pay them. And today, I can confirm that some payment have been made to the contractor working on a Fancore project, and we expect that the activities on that side should pick up so that at least we can create a safe passage for the motorists whilst we work towards completing the rest of the project. I know we have paid in excess of 300 million Ghana cedi. That is the financing model of Fancore project. This was GOG. And then I must say that some of our colleagues who spoke on the other side were saying the project was not fun. I mean, it was GOG project, But you remember the $750 million Afri-Exim loan? Then they gave the contractors, some of the contractors, part of that money. But because it's a one-off loan, it's not sustainable. That money has been spent, so the project is back to GOG. So we need to find the money and pay them. That is why President Mahama directed that it should be captured as big push. So we will prioritize the payment for the completion of the Anchor project the same way Kaswa to Winneba and beyond. The additional information is that you notice that when you talk about projects that have been abandoned, when President Mahama took over, we never asked any contractor to stop work. In fact, those of you who followed me across the country, I was rather encouraging contractors to have faith with the state to continue work. Roll back 2017, government took a decision to suspend many projects, including especially Cocoa Road project. And that is part of the reason we have so much damage the Cocoa Road project, because contractors were about finishing. Some of them actually had resources to finish the project. They were told to stop. President Mahama never asked anybody to stop work. No contractor was asked to stop work. That is the reset we are talking about. We are different from the MPP in terms of handling issues at the road ministry. Yes, what President Mahama is intending to do in the road sector, I am sure if it's NPP, there would have been 50 slogans about it by now. But we don't deal with rhetorics and slogans. We shall deliver the road. You can do your slogans later. Yes, some of the roads, we need to improve the pedestrian, infrastructure around some of the roads. Sometimes where we put the footbridges and other things are not exactly where the pedestrians want it. So the new things we are trying to do, in fact, we have even identified roads that do not have that. We want to work on it. And then you talked about the traffic lighting. All those are part of maintenance things we are going to do. And we actually started rehabilitating some of the damaged street lights. My brother from Joy FM, you are right. The irony is that the data we have suggests that road crashes happen through various means. We have road crashes on roads that are in a very bad state. Then we have road crashes on roads that have just been completed that drivers can't hesitate or can't save themselves from the road is so good overspeeding. So it is not a simple story of the road is bad, you have accident, or the road is good, we have accident. It is, in many cases, if you listen to the expert, driver error in many of the cases. Because, of course, if the road is two directions, single lane, two direction, and you want to overtake, or those of us who drive, it is always said that you overtake when it is safe. But unfortunately, we do have those situations. Dualizing the road will not take away road crashes. You see road crashes on Accra-Tema motorway. There's nobody driving towards each other, but we still see road crashes. So driver competence and driver attitude is also a part of it. At the road ministry, we can only improve the roads, and I think drivers or motorists also need to take responsibility and do some of this. We have done a lot of engagement on the rest of the roads we are coming to do. Let me repeat. Big Push is not the only road project we are coming to start. In my record, we are starting over 100 projects at the same time. So when you count the Big Push projects, they are not up to that number. So let everybody just be calm. Because my sister talked about, we call it the Beach Road. That is supposed to be running from Independence Square all the way through to Junction Mall. It is a project funded by a Chinese, I think CDB, China Development Bank. You will notice that myself and the finance minister were in China a few weeks ago. We are having those discussions because it's not a GOG funded, and the Chinese are interested in doing it. And I must thank the Chinese government. Some of the Chinese abandoned road projects, we are close to restarting them. All the Sino Hydro abandoned projects, I am aware that Sino Hydro has already committed, and in a few weeks' time, they will be back to complete those projects which are still within their portfolio. So the Beach Road is one of those. It's not a GOG. We are working to close those discussions so that we can complete them. They will not be abandoned. The same applies to the Peshi Bridge. I will let my agencies take care. The specific issue about PPP, No one says we don't want to do PPP. In fact, when people come to my office every day, we want to do BOT, we want to do PPP. We are saying that the economic climate we have currently does not lend itself for government to enter into a any PPP agreement. As I speak, there's absolutely no PPP road project in the country. Like I said, Accra to Motorway has nothing to do with PPP. It is purely a GOG project being funded by GOG. So we may get to a point beyond IMF where we have the ability to enter into those kinds of agreements, and then we can go ahead and do a PPP on major projects. That is what my deputy was talking about. So we are saying the same thing. But currently, you are not even allowed to have that discussion, let alone form it into a PPP project. So we are not actively pursuing a PPP program on road now because we don't even have the capacity until we go beyond the IMF program. I think those are the main. And then somebody asked, how are we going to ensure competitiveness and other things? I must say that the haste in which we are currently, the demand for action now, we would do whatever it takes to make sure that there's value for money in the selection of all contractors. The principle is that it is a contractor with the best capacity, the best attitude, and the best determination to align with the vision of President Mahama under the 24-hour economy. I have been to sites, and in fact, before even the first big push project come on stream, we have been to sites where contractors have put up signboard that this site is a 24-hour economy site, and they were working 24 hours on those sites. So yes, 24-hour economy is not a project, it's a policy, and the road ministry is implementing that. In the contracts that every big push contractor will sign, there will be a clause to say that this project will be undertaken 24/7 to make sure that we do the things within a certain agreed schedule so that we can complete them on time for the benefit of the people of our country. So there will not be any political interference in the awards of contract. It doesn't matter whether you voted for NDC, you voted for NPP. What we want is the best contractor that can deliver on the mandate given to President Mahama so that the roads can be done within a specified time. That is what we are looking forward to. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. So we call it a day at this point, and reiterate our profound appreciation to the Minister for sharing these thoughts with us on the way forward for President Mahama's agenda on routes. We'll come your way on Friday with the Minister for Communication, Digital Technology and Innovation, who would also make a presentation on goings on in this sector and under his ministry. So until then, see you all.
Kwame governs Agbodza taking his turn at the Government Accountability Series. There will be more from that particular press conference later on Newsfeed at 4:30 and on the Channel 1 newsroom at 8 p.m. On Friday, we have the Communications Minister, Samuel Nate George, who would also take his turn at the Government Accountability Series. Thank you so much for staying with us here on Channel 1 TV. I'm Hawa Idrisu Mustafa. Good afternoon.